呢都係得個 token。應該係。Is it okay now? Oh, my God. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, so is it okay? Yeah, I think you can sit down with me. Okay? Maybe we can see only a few of you. That's okay. We all. Yes. Maybe later you have to switch your seat.
It's okay.
Okay, so hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to our sharing of the difficulties faced by foreign domestic workers in the coronavirus pandemic. And today we have invited a few of our foreign domestic worker members who are from the Philippines to share their experience or their friends' experience with us. So we hope that today, through the sharing, we have more understanding about their situation and also to have more concern about foreign domestic workers, right? Because many of us are facing extra stress during this situation like that. So we have also invited some Indonesian members, but because they don't have holiday and they are not allowed to go outside, so today we have only Filipinos with us like this. So I am Nancy. I'm the social worker of Caritas Asian Migrant Workers Social Service Project, the Caritas AMP. And today I have a few of our workers' friends. This is Ina.
Hello.
Yeah, and Belinda, can you show your face a bit closer to us in the camera? Yes. Belinda. This is Susie. Yeah. This is...
Hi, I'm Viviels. Good morning.
This is Viviels. So for today, the sharing will be conducted in English and with maybe Indonesian translation at the end of the sharing. And for the reporters or journalists who want to ask us some questions, you can ask it at the end of our sharing through the inbox to our Facebook page, Caritas AMP. And so for today, we actually want to talk about the condition faced by foreign domestic workers, because especially in recent days, there are more confirmed cases of foreign domestic workers, and there are some domestic workers who stayed in the boarding house were also confirmed with coronavirus. So there are more concern in the society regarding the living condition of foreign domestic workers or their holiday arrangement. So today we want to talk about mainly a few points, difficulties shared by foreign domestic workers right now. The first one is their holiday arrangement. Their holiday arrangement really did affect their mental health. And also, secondly, most important issue is the poor living environment in boarding house. So feel free to give us some comment below. And so first of all, we want to invite our member, Cici, to share some of her experience right now under the current holiday arrangement. So Cici, do you have any special arrangement given by the employer right now in coronavirus?
Hello. For me, my employer allowed me to go every Sunday, but always asked me to be alert and must be wear a mask and don't go to any crowded places. Also, this pandemic affect my holiday routine, because actually I do a volunteer works in the church, and as you know, now the church is closed So now I attend only the online mass. Also, I have a class, but also online class. This is very hard for me because my class is a computer class. And but luckily, I also a holiday and meet some of my friends, but only few, not all. But some of my friends also don't go outside or have holiday because the employer also is scared that they affected this pandemic. But for me, I trust some of my helper or friends that also they also alert to protect themselves not to be affected in this pandemic, and also they love their works, and also they want to go back to their land, to their homeland, to become a healthy, not affected this one. Also, I'm scared in this pandemic because I don't know, and we also know that this pandemic with a virus, we cannot see this one. But as the as a helper, I also love my employer, so I take care of myself during my holidays.
So, it seems like the coronavirus put a lot of restriction on how you spend your holiday,
Yeah.
right? You have a lot of activities or plans of meeting friends, but right now, most of the activities are cancelled, and because you're also worried or your employees are worried about that you may have the chance of getting infected, so you also have to plan your activities again, right? And Cici also mentioned like actually sometimes maybe some Hong Kong people, they think that if they allow their workers to go outside on holiday, they may go to the crowded places, share food together with their friends. It's very dangerous. If they got infected, they also bring the virus back to home. So how do you think about that?
I know some employer are also scared of that situation, but for me, I know some of the helper know the rules and regulation to avoid this virus affect themselves. They protect themselves not to become a carrier to their employer's home. So I think better some employer also allow their helper to go outside, so the helper also have a relax and a health, her mental health also have a peace of mind, not the whole month or the whole week work with them, because work in a home or with their employer also a hard job for them.
Mm. So it's actually, Cici mentioned that actually many foreign domestic workers, they are also concerned about their physical health problem. They're also worried about getting infected. So if the situation is allowed, whether they are allowed to go outside to take rest or meet their friends, to be more relaxed, regain their energy for work, if the worker has carried out precautionary measures. So Cici also pointed out that the trust of the employer is also very important, because this will support a lot for the workers' mental health, right? Yeah. So do you have anything to add? Okay. So thank you, Cici, for her sharing, because she has some online lesson to take later, so she will have to go now. So we thank you.
Okay,
Cici's sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Cici, sharing. She actually just pointed out for her for her holiday arrangement, she's okay with that, because she's still allowed to go outside on Sunday, but she will always take the preventive measures. So such as wearing masks, keep social distancing with their friends if she goes outside. And she also mentioned that the trust of the employers are also very important, like this. So now we will invite Ina to also share about her holiday arrangement right now. So Ina, are you allowed to go outside on your holiday right now?
Hello. Yes, I am allowed to go out and outside, especially in my day off. My employer always remind me to um, take measure. Um, wear a mask. Sometimes I bring also alcohol to wash my hand and social distancing.
And did the employer give you any restriction, like you cannot meet friends or you can't go somewhere on your holiday?
My employer asked me to. Uh, she also give me a restriction like um, just meet only few friends. Don't so many. Don't go so far. Just stay near in our home, or sometimes remind me also to stay at home. Yeah, just like that.
And would they ask you after your holiday, where did you go? Who do you meet, like that?
Um, my friend also asked me to just just meet only few people. Um, yeah.
It's like this. Okay. So, is your mental health affected ever since the coronavirus outbreak, or do you have more workload since the coronavirus?
Yeah. When the coronavirus comes in Hong Kong, it's really troublesome for me and really so stressful. Why? Because as domestic helper, it's really so troublesome because in because when the coronavirus not here in Hong Kong, I only go to market once every day. Every day because my grandparents always visit in our home, so I can go to market every day. So not so heavy load. Like when the coronavirus come in Hong Kong, the pandemic come in Hong Kong, it's really troublesome because I need to go to market once in a week. So it's really so trouble and so stressful because I'm thinking which dishes do I need to prepare for them, and then I need to carry so heavy loads. Carry so heavy market things, foods, vegetables, and then go to the grocery stores, and then it's really so trouble. So,
And do you have extra workload to do more cleaning more frequently?
yeah, and then because my children, my ward, they stay home, and then also today, they not go to school, so they stay in home, so I need to take care of them. So it's really add more some workload, and cooking for them also lunch, prepare also their yeah.
Also cleaning all the time?
Yeah. Cleaning their all the time, taking care of them. So really troublesome.
So as you mentioned that the workload, your stress actually is heavier after the outbreak of coronavirus. Do you think um, having your holiday is important for you to regain your energy?
As I mentioned that when the coronavirus comes in Hong Kong, I just only stay. I work really so troublesome. I don't know how to say like this because it's really I don't know how to express this because it's really stressful. So stressful actually. This domestic helper is so really stressful because I don't know how to express because
Do you have holidays? Some of you?
yeah, I have on holiday, but then it's really yeah, so tired, and because I work 6 days in a week. My employer is stay at home, and then I need to go to market once in a week, and
the whole week.
buy the food for the whole week, thinking what dishes cook for them, and then cleaning our home, and then it's also add more to clean those stuffs, market stuffs. It's really adds out in my work, and my actually my employer also allowed me to go in the Sunday, so it's okay for me also. But then I prepared also to stay at home, so it's for me it's relaxed also then.
Mm-mm. So, do you prefer to stay at home on your holiday or to go outside on your holiday? Which one do you prefer, or which one is better for your mental health?
For me both, because when the Hong Kong take the measure, I mean when the Hong Kong announced that people just only 2 people, so I prefer to stay at home. So but then I really also bored to stay at home for the whole week, so I prefer also to go out and meet my friends. But then I also remind myself be careful to meeting my friends.
Mm-mm. So, is your mental health affected because of the special holiday arrangement or special work arrangement? Like you are more stressful, or you have does that affect your relationship with your employer also?
Yeah, it's really affect my mental health, because also my emotional really affected me, because when I tired, I don't know how show myself in my employer when I tired, because yeah it's really so trouble really.
Do you share this kind of stress with your friends or families or anyone you trust?
Oh, yes. I share this to my family. So they said that be careful in my work, be careful here in Hong Kong, because here in Hong Kong high cases also. So don't come out and be careful. So wear mask always. They say like this.
Is it? Do you think it's quite a struggle for you to balance between having rest, having relaxation in your private space, and between um, doing your job, or yeah, like that? Do you think it's difficult to balance that, because right now the coronavirus is quite serious, the condition? um, you are also worried. You understand that why the employer don't want some workers to go out, right? But at the same time, you also need some private space to rest, to maybe go outside to meet your friends, to talk to your families. Do you think this is quite a struggle for you?
Yes, because this pandemic, it's just make me put me in one. I would say it's put me in one place, put me in one box, so I cannot move. Like unlike that when the virus not here in Hong Kong, I can go anywhere. I can meet how many friends I want. But now I have a restriction, so it's really troublesome for me. Also, my social life is really affected a lot. Like also my last time I have also a swimming class. It's really I cannot go. I mean I cannot attend the swimming class, because exercise also is very important in our health. So it's really troublesome. This virus so troublesome and makes me really my mental it's so terrible. I don't know.
I feel like it's very stressful, and it maybe you feel a bit powerless, because you can't control the current condition. You don't know what will happen next, when will all this finish, and you can't do what you want. You don't have the freedom to enjoy your holiday, the freedom to choose what you want to do. Right? Is it like that?
Yes. Uh, Also, I will add also your statement that when the when the coronavirus not here in Hong Kong, I can attend any class. I can go anywhere. I can buy anyone's, or I can um, go anywhere actually. So no any restriction. But then when the virus here in Hong Kong, it makes us, all the helpers, um, cannot move. I use the word I cannot move. So just only stay in one place and don't breathe like that.
It's it's very difficult
Yes.
for many of you, right?
Yeah.
Because not just you worry about getting infected, but you carry a lot of stress, but you can't do anything to ventilate your emotion. You can't do anything to express, to relax your stress and to express your needs like that. So
Yeah.
thank you, Ina. Do you have anything to add?
I don't know.
Okay, so
Thank you so much.
thank you, Ina, for sharing how she feel about the current coronavirus pandemic, because it's really stressful. As she mentioned, um, they cannot move. They don't have choice to enjoy their holiday. And for their holiday, it's also very important for them to regain their energy, to restore a good mental health status. So this is also the issue we concern very much about foreign domestic workers. So next, we also invite Vivian to talk about some of her experience or her friends' experience of holiday arrangement in the pandemic. So, Vivian, how's your any special arrangement for your holiday right now?
So far, the arrangement's still the same, as I have a freedom to go out, but I have a restrictions or limitations like the hygiene or the people you meet up. You need to have limitations like 2 people only, not more than that. And then of course the food we eat or the food I eat, I need to bring out my own, by my own food. I need to cook at home. So I no need to buy anything outside just to keep myself safe and clean. The hygiene is very high. The setup from my employers. So I need to take more water to avoid what do you call this, the deficiency of the body, and then the cleanliness. Wear mask every time I go, especially when I go out to take or buy something or marketing. I need to spread out. I need to move social the distance from the buyers or the other customers. I need to have a distance. And then when I take holiday, also I have a need distance from the people. I need to take a look if the people is clean or not. That's it.
And so for you, you can have holiday.
Yes.
Even during the coronavirus pandemic, your employer is okay with that. Do you know some of your friends, if they are not allowed to go outside on holiday, or they simply don't have any holiday in the pandemic?
Uh, uh, as my experience to my friend, they told me that their employers they don't allow to take holidays since maybe they don't have trust them of the hygiene. But of course, their mental accessibility is not that quite good. It's because of when you work for at home for how many days? 6 days. Of course, in the whole week you don't have enough rest. You don't have enough time to have a happiness or some a social life. Of course, it will affect to your health. The way they show up their employers and the way they work, of course, is struggling. They cannot make it perfect as well.
Did your friend mention how this arrangement, like cannot go outside, no holiday, how did this arrangement affect their mental health?
Normally, if like that, my friend said normally because the employer don't allow them to go out. Uh, they affect much is because of some of the helper or of my friends. They have activities outside like exercise, as now common. They cannot attend it, and then they don't have any exercise from themselves too. Of course, in talking to their family, they cannot also talk as same as do this last time or this their routine at they have time for their families at night or in the daytime. Of course, the employees at home you cannot do by yourself as you like, or you have limitations at home too. So this will affect their health.
So that means some of them, if they stay at home, they don't have their private space
Yes.
to really take the rest, right? And did they mention, like, for example, them how the mental health affects their work because their mood is very much affected right now?
They affect much. It's because of the stress. If the employer at home and they don't have a holiday, of course their settings of their mind settings is not same quite good. It's because of the routine that hi, I usually face up this kind of work. I don't have any social life. I don't have any happiness for myself. So I don't have time for myself. Of course their stress and their face off. They can show always they're very stressed. This is the my friend said to me. It's not easy for me when the pandemic comes. And the global problem, this global problem, this is not easy for us as a workers in Hong Kong. It's because of a helper is stay at home and the employers also stay at home. It's very stressful, and they don't have any freedom. They cannot choose what they like. They always follow the rules of Hong Kong.
Did your friends like mention maybe their mental health also affects their relationship with their employer, maybe more quarrels?
Yeah, the arguments is there. It's because of sometimes the employer is so demanding. Of course, they told that you no need to go out. I think you can do this more perfectly, more perfect. Sometimes employer will demand like this, so the mind settings and their health become stressful, and of course how they work it's become also struggling, and they cannot make it perfect. It's because they always have an employer at home, like the pandemic not yet arrived this year. The situation is the employer will work outside. Of course they can make it step by step, but when the employers at home more argue, it's because the employer will take a look how you make it and how you can make it perfect. Actually the work is not perfect. Of course there's a mistakes always, but of course if the employer always at home, it make you very stressful, and then your mental arrangement will be also stressful, and you cannot make it perfect.
So that's why having your private space, the trust of your employer, I think is also very important for foreign domestic workers to go through this hardship, because if the employers have more understanding on the workers, their needs, their difficulties, their condition, then the worker will also get more support in this environment. I think most of the workers, they understand it's a very difficult time, not just for the workers, but also for the employers, for many Hong Kong people. But they also wish to have more understanding from the public, from the employers to overcome this period. Right? So, yeah, thank you so much for Vivis and Ina for sharing their mental health challenges during the coronavirus. And later we have invited Belinda to share about some boarding house issues, because in the recent news, the problems of poor living environment of boarding house is come under the spotlight again. So we want to invite Belinda to share about the boarding house. Yeah. Okay. So, Belinda, have you stayed in the boarding house before?
Yeah. Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm Belinda. Yes, last previous year, I live in boarding house. I stay in boarding house. I passed 2004, almost 6 years. And in this previous month is 2 months ago. I also visited my friend boarding house, and in the boarding house is the area is so small, almost 300 square foot, and then in one room, in one flat, that was we call that flat here, is almost 2 rooms. In 2 rooms, I know in one rooms have two
Yeah, actually, this one.
two will stay, and then the area is so very difficult because small space and crowded of sometimes, especially in Sundays, have many friends of friends guests, and noisy, so we cannot avoid that because that was boarding house. But only this pandemic is very difficult because it's dangerous, especially we don't know those person coming in and out because uh, we, we don't know if they carried out some virus outside or because no what we call that scanning, thermal scanning in that building. So at this time, need important is to monitor especially the hygiene and especially in the boarding house that are commonly many stay domestic helper.
So, um, Bilan, you mentioned that quite many years ago you stay in the boarding house, and then a few months ago you visit your friends in the boarding house.
Yeah.
Did the environment change, or is just the same compared to before?
The same for situation, but the area is not the same. But the place is clean, neat, arranged well. But is the safety is not safe exactly because you don't know the person coming in and out.
So, Bilan, you just mentioned in the boarding house you and your friends stay is about 300 square feet, and how many rooms are there in this flat?
In the flat is 10 rooms. In one room is have two person stay in that room. So in that place in that 300 flat, so almost 200 to 20 person.
So it's a really bad living environment because it's 20 people living in a 300 square foot flat, and two people sharing a room, which is really small,
Yeah,
right?
small.
How about the toilet and the kitchen?
No kitchen, but the toilet is just only communal. Many will using it. And the toilet also is clean, and but it's not for me is I cannot say something that is just only take care of every self because we don't know every person that will be visiting there and using it.
So, um, uh, so how about the life sharing in the boarding house? Do people share their food together normally?
In boarding house, we are sharing in food in 2 meals. The lunch and dinner. It depend the menu of the food. If the menu is depend the menu. If the menu expensive, we share the high price. So, but
How much is it?
20 to $30. $30 per lunch and then sharing for 10 person, so that was it's okay also because 2 to 3 bayan in one lunch.
How much is it in this boarding house?
In every because me is Sunday only 100 per Sunday, so 400 per month. But those STN is 1.5 per person,
For those who stay.
so in one room so 3,000.
Okay. So, how's the hygiene condition in the boarding house?
The hygiene condition in boarding house is clean, but especially those domestic helper that stay in there, especially in the terminates, they buy their own self alcohol and those hygiene kit because need to save themselves from infected from virus.
How's the ventilation in the house? Is it okay? The toilet?
Poor ventilation because you're using only electric fan. So this time is very hot. So very very sweet.
Do you think that foreign domestic workers are at higher risk in the pandemic for those who are staying in the boarding house?
I can say it's depend the domestic helper if they are they observe themselves to it's high risk of course because many will come and in boarding house, but we must only take care our own self,
Mm.
especially the hygiene.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add for the boarding house?
For me is
Seeing that the living environment in the boarding house is really not ideal for people to stay in, especially in the pandemic, have you considered living in other places? Any other choice for you?
if
Can you
if
afford
have
it?
another choice, it's much better give an space for the domestic helper to stay in that safe area and with hygiene and free some hygiene kits because expensive for domestic helper. They are especially new works, so very petty. They spend their own pocket, just how much only the salary and the expensive the hygiene kit that they are the from personal.
Yeah, I
Then they
think,
buying food.
yeah, like Bila mentioned, actually, for many workers, they stay in the boarding house because they were terminated by the employer or they're looking for a new employer. So to afford a better accommodation is quite stressful for them because they are also they don't have enough money to afford that like that. So we have received some questions from the journalists and reporters. We will answer it after the sharing. So yeah, we will answer it later. And so based on our members sharing, we can see that many foreign domestic workers are facing various situations. The first one is the boarding house problem because for example, a 300 square foot flat, there are 20 people staying in with poor ventilation. They have to share the toilet together. Some even don't have the kitchen. They cannot keep social distance in the pandemic. So, however, the problem of poor living conditions of boarding house has been around for a long time. It only come under spotlight during coronavirus pandemic. After more foreign domestic workers stay in the boarding house were confirmed as infected. So, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a standard living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services. So we believe that ensuring adequate and decent housing accommodation and a suitable living environment is fundamental rights for everyone. And foreign domestic workers are no exception. But due to the lack of official living standards and absence of an effective monitoring system for these boarding houses, the Hong Kong society is neglecting foreign domestic workers' rights and putting them at risk of infection. And besides, other than the boarding house problem, other workers, other members, they also share about their mental health problems. Actually, nearly 90% of the cases that seek help from us, they are also emotionally affected due to the pandemic. They migrate abroad in order to provide their families they left behind. Is very emotionally very tired, and they are in financial pressure. So they have to face heavy workload with only 1 day off a week, just like Ina shared. Even worse, the outbreak of coronavirus since February has caused additional workload and extra financial burden, and also more mental stress to them. So as a result of the pandemic, many employers, they changed the holiday arrangement for the foreign domestic workers. Some ask them not to go out or not to meet their friends on the holidays. Most of the foreign domestic workers, as Cici or Ina or Vivis share, they always take precautionary measures to protect themselves when they go outside on holiday right now. For example, wear masks, keep social distance, do not share food, something like that. If their employer trusts them, if their employer gives them some space to go out, they can still have the chance to relax and regain their energy. But some also are asked to stay at home on holiday instead, or just some got their holiday canceled. So for those who stay at employer's house on rest day, some expressed that they cannot really take rest.
Yes.
Just like Vivis shared, because they live in the same house with their employers. If they have their own room, it's better. But some, they do not have their own room. So it's very difficult for them to really to take a rest, to relax. And for those who have no holiday, who got their holiday canceled by the employer, they're actually working for continuously 7 days without rest. So I think they are really, really exhausted. We think resting and meeting friends is very important to enable someone to process their anxiety and feeling recharged enough to perform their job and thereby securing their job. So if the foreign domestic worker, they don't have enough stress, they tend to have more negative emotions, and this also affects their working performance. They're scared of losing their job because they can't accomplish well perfectly. And apart from that, some workers also share that because their employers stay at home for longer time in the coronavirus, and for the workers, they are also very mentally stressed. So they also have more quarrels with their employer, and this really affects the employer and employee relationships. And for workers, they seldom raise their worries and concerns with their employers. They worried it would displease their employer, or they would lose their job. Yeah, and so therefore they tend to suppress their needs in the larger interest to provide support their family. So we are also concerned about the way how the foreign domestic workers handles their emotions. And also we find that some foreign domestic workers, they have difficulties in access to the information related to coronavirus. There are a lot of news and updates every day, and it's very difficult for them to reach and to digest this information. We saw from the news a few days ago that some foreign domestic workers gathered on street violate the ban of public gathering, but they didn't mean to violate it. They just didn't know that about the latest social distancing measures, because the information changed so fast, too many updates every day. So I think most of them, they didn't mean to ignore the preventive measures or to violate the law, but they cannot follow the latest arrangements, and they don't know where to access to the information, and no one tells them. Especially for those who are working for elderly, maybe the elderly, they also not sure about the current pandemic condition, so no one remind them. So most of the information is also written in Chinese and partly in English, so it could be difficult for them to fully understand the meanings of this information. And seeing all this situation faced by foreign domestic workers, we, Caritas Asian Migrant Workers Social Service Project, actually have a few suggestions to give in order to improve the well-being of foreign domestic workers in the pandemic. So first of all, as for the boarding house problem, as we mentioned, it has been a long-term problem. It's not a new problem, but it just become worse in the pandemic. So therefore, we actually think that there's the lack of official living standard and no effective monitoring system to see if the boarding house living environment meets the basic rights of these foreign domestic workers. And therefore, we suggest the government to set minimum standard and specification for the living conditions in boarding houses. These standards should look into the accommodation, space, basic facilities, and elements of hygiene and security. For example, the standards of minimum living space per head, minimum of space between beds to maintain the social distancing, the maximum number of beds per room or in certain square meters, maximum of residents sharing a toilet and a shower. We also suggest better monitoring of boarding houses to ensure that they are meeting the minimum standards. While the Labor Department is the licensing authority of employment agencies, we believe that the government has the leading role to monitor the operation of boarding houses as well. So they should carry out regular inspections or even investigations or prosecutions to ensure that the accommodations of these agencies are meeting the standards. And we actually appreciate the government's new implementation to expand and provide free coronavirus testing service to foreign domestic workers who are staying in boarding house. However, we think that the workers will soon be exposed in the high-risk environment again after the test if they continue to live in this crowd, poor hygiene places. So we believe setting the standards and performing effective monitoring systems are very important to improve their living condition and to make their dormitory living more resilient to the public health risks, especially in the coronavirus pandemic. So actually, foreign domestic workers, they seldom complain about their boarding house arrangements, but this should not be taken to mean that they are happy or satisfied with that. So many of them in this day express that they are very much worried that they could get infected. They didn't choose to stay in these terrible boarding houses. They just couldn't afford better accommodation with reasonable level of decency, density, and hygiene. They do not have the autonomy in keeping social distance in these living conditions. Therefore, we call for the intervention of government to relook the living situation of thousands of migrant workers. This not only protects just the foreign domestic workers, but also the society to help to control the spread of the disease. And secondly, regarding for the mental health problem faced by foreign domestic workers, we think that communication and mutual understandings are the key to improve employer and employee relationship and to support the foreign domestic workers. Therefore, we call on employers to show more understanding to the needs of the workers, concerned about not just their physical health, but also their mental health. We have also received some compliments from the foreign domestic workers about their employers' arrangement on their holiday or at work in the pandemic. For example, some still allow the worker to go outside if they take the preventive measures, or they switch their holiday to Saturday, where there are less people on the street, and or some allow them to have their own room to rest at home. So I think this is also very important. And also maybe these are also some possible arrangement on workers' holiday instead of just taking away their holidays, taking away their rights to rest. We also suggest foreign domestic workers to concern about their mental health instead of keeping all the stress by themselves. Talk to their friends or families about their feelings or seek help from counseling services. Do not suppress your negative emotions. And we think that it's very important to ensure the mental health of foreign domestic workers when they can regain enough energy and restore good mental health condition on holiday. They can have energy and better ability to work diligently and healthily for the employers, thereby also securing their job. So we believe it's maintaining the mental health, concerning the mental health of foreign domestic workers is also a win-win situation for both the workers and the employers. And lastly, regarding the difficulties in accessing the information, there are a lot of news and updates on coronavirus every day. It's very difficult for them to get access and digest all this information. Therefore, we suggest the government to provide information not just in Chinese, but also in English, or even more in minority languages, and to improve its publicity and promotion. For example, to reach them at places they gather, or to spread through the information through consulates or relevant organizations. This will give a lot of help to foreign domestic workers and other ethnic minorities who are also part of our society, part of our community. Besides, for us, our service, Caritas Asia Migrant Workers Social Service Project, we also share and translate different kinds of updated information that are related to foreign domestic workers in Hong Kong frequently, such as the news, policies, coronavirus information on our Facebook page. And we also have some free epidemic prevention materials such as hand sanitizers to provide to the foreign domestic workers. We also have counseling and labor law inquiry service So if foreign domestic workers, they need help, please don't hesitate to contact us, or we also welcome employers to share our service to their workers. And foreign domestic workers can also stay tuned to our Facebook page for the information. And to conclude, we think that with more confirmed cases of coronavirus among foreign domestic workers in these days, we hope that more foreign domestic workers can be more aware, stay alert to the current pandemic situations, and play their parts to prevent infection to safeguard Hong Kong together. Always wear a mask, perform personal hygiene, maintain social distance, do not share food, stay away from crowded places, concerned about both the mental health and physical health, and do not shy to seek help. Do not be shy to seek help. And as the society begins to pay more attention to foreign domestic workers recently, the needs and concerns of this group of people also become more visible. Foreign domestic workers, they migrate abroad, living in someone's house to support their own family. It's emotionally very exhausting, and the financial pressure is very heavy. Their stress is even worse in the pandemic. So these 400,000 foreign domestic workers have been working very hard, dutifully in the past 6 months, sacrificing their holidays, their rest time, the chance of reunion with their family, their freedoms. They also spare no efforts to safeguard the health and safety of many families in Hong Kong. So we hope that the government can provide more support to them, and the public can show more empathetic understandings to these workers. In this way, they would be physically and mentally healthy to work for the employers, and will be able to fight together with us against the virus. Yeah, so this is the end of our sharing, and we will answer some of the questions suggested by the reporters. So please take a moment, please. Please wait a moment. Let's answer this question first because it's in English. So it's they want to talk about discrimination. So see if who can understand. The second one is, are you worried to go to the wet market? Because wet market also have infections, and then whether you have private space at home. 我咪你咪想係咪就咁答埋問題㗎啦？可以。有成10幾20條問題都答唔晒㗎。咁點啊？喺度答咗啲先。因為就 inbox 答佢咯，因為就原來嘅 inbox 答。好，我哋答咗一個先啦。We have received some English questions from Ming Pao, so maybe we will answer these questions, and for the other questions, maybe we will answer through the inbox later. So, first of all, some people blame the workers for gathering outdoors on weekends and share the food. So, do you face any discrimination after the outbreak among domestic workers, and how do you feel about that? You have gathered with their friends?
Hi, this is Vivilds. Some of my friends do this gathering now, but I seldom go this place, have a gathering. But some of my friends do this gathering. They take some food in the park and they share it together. And then suddenly later, there is an infected. So most of the government in Hong Kong will blame the helpers or the workers in Hong Kong that they are the carrier of the virus. Instead, they have to stay at home. They like to gathering outside. This is the common problem nowadays. Of course, for me, I feel it's. I'm so sad. Of course, we don't have any choice. Of course, only in the park or times of our holidays we can do gathering, and we don't have any choice also to meet up with some friends. Or you have to choose only which people is not infected. I always take a look if this person is quite clean and no virus. That's it.
Hannah, you want to show Belinda? When you gather with your friends?
No, and every Sunday since the pandemic start, I see, I think since February until May, I stay in my room only. I don't go out, and I stay in my room only. And since I start going out since June. So because no livelihood program, no workshop, no other activity. So I meet with my friends, limited friends that I know who they are, and then because I have friends, good heart that he spend her own money, pocket, cook food for us, and every lunchtime. So she give us to share with us to eat for free. And then because her employer is don't want also we are buying outside because for our own safety. So for but we are just only sitting down in the park, but not crowded. Some are, we cannot avoid that some of the local Chinese that mocking us or to take a look on us. We never mind. At least we have preventive measure what we are doing, and we are using alcohol and washing our hands before we are sharing our foods. Thank
Do
you.
you have anything to add?
I experienced this kind of discrimination this past few months because when I went to a restaurant, of course, so many people queue up there, so I preferred to buy food to take away, and then I sit outside. I thought actually it's a park, and then one of the guards pushing us away. They say, "Go away there," and then you find another place. It's really troublesome because where we eat, also we are afraid also to eat in the restaurant because so many people. So it's really so troublesome this pandemic. It's really we don't know where we go, where we eat, where stay. So it really makes me sad this situation.
So I think for right now, many domestic workers, I think some of them they also encounter discrimination when after the outbreak of coronavirus, and it's even worse as Ina mentioned. They don't have. Seems the society don't have any space anywhere to accept these people to take rest or to just to eat, right? Yeah, pushing them away. So, I mean, for some workers, if they have carried out the preventive measures and to stay alert, it's all right to also protect themselves from getting infected. But we also hope that if the workers have already carried out preventive measures and their employers allowed them to go out, we hope that the society do not discriminate them for going outside or gathering with their friends because they don't have anywhere to go, actually. Yeah. So for the second question, is that recently there are some outbreak in the wet markets in Hong Kong. So are you worried when you go to this market, and how do you take precautions?
Wow, for me, it's not easy to go marketing. Lots of it's mostly in the morning, crowded, the customers or the marketers. So it's not easy also to buy something. You have to take a look. For me, I need to have a social distancing also. I need to keep myself distance and protect myself. I wear mask. Double. I have also a face, how do you call that one?
Shield.
Face shield. I need to wear it to protect myself. And then afterwards, I need to take a bath right away before I prepare the things I bought. I need to take a bath and take a look myself. I'm clean before I face of my employers. This is very important for us. After marketing, you have to clean out or take a bath right away.
Okay, are you worried?
Since the pandemic started February until now, all the things that need in marketing and in groceries, everything is my male boss and my lady employers the one buying it. I just make on less on it, and then they are the one buy in the market and in groceries. Because for myself, I need also safety because I have elderly to take care. So much better in this situation, at least they know how much the price, because some of the employer are complaining the high price and the budget is the same, they don't know the price. And then if the money is no more, they are, oh, it's no more. And then we cannot say, oh, I eat at all. That's expensive, everything. So much better like this, that you are the one go marketing every time, everything in the house. At least they know. And me myself is I'm safety of some virus.
Okay. So, Ina?
I will add, Birma said that yeah, in wet market is no social distancing. So it makes me worried also because people in the market, in the wet market, people are busy, so many people crowded. So they need to choose which food. So we are shoulder by shoulder. We are touched by hands, and then we don't know also if that food that we pick up is clean or not, or infected or not. So most of the time I carrying alcohol to wash my hands, always, and then wearing mask. So my employer also give me an wearing mask to go to the wet market. So
So, I think most of the workers, they are also very um, alert when they go to the wet markets due to recent confirmed cases, and they take precautionary measures. And most important, if the employer can provide them some epidemic preventive materials like mask or face shield or hand sanitizer, and therefore they can also protect themselves from getting infection of coronavirus. And the last question is whether foreign domestic workers, they have private space at employer's house, and how private is it? And is it an ideal place for you to take rest instead, or do you prefer to go outside?
For me, I can choose whether I need to go out to take holiday or not. But of course, if the employer don't have an arrangement that you have to stay, I will pay you. Of course, I need to go out. This is the rules based on the contract. 6 days a week to work. So if there's an excessive one day, of course they will pay you. But I choose to go out. They will not pay me if I will stay at home. But some of my friends forced to stay at home, whether they will pay or not. It's because of the coronavirus. It's very trouble for us. Some of my friends already terminated. It's because of the coronavirus too. They go back to Philippines without job. You see. But I'm very lucky. I have a job in Hong Kong, and thanks to God, I always keep on praying, and I hope this pandemic will end.
Do you have your private space at home to rest?
Yeah, I have my own rooms, my own toilets inside. I think almost 50 square foot, the size, and I can sleep well, but at least I need to help to my employer also in cooking, because kaning inside my room, at when I going out in my room is a kitchen, so I can listen to them. But my employee is a good heart. They don't force me to work to do so everything. At least I also myself to be very considerate because of their goodness. So it's okay for me.
Lina?
um, when the Hong Kong government announced that only two people gathering, I prefer to stay at home. So it's really also troublesome. And then when I feel bored in my room, I go out to buy food. And then also sometimes I prepare to alone. So I'm afraid that I get infected to my friends. But then my employer allowed me also to have take a rest inside in my room. Actually, my room is not quite small, not quite big, but it's enough for me to take a rest. So I buy food, then I stay in my room. So yeah, that's it.
Um, because for some workers, they have their own room in their employer's house. So if they are asked to stay at home on holiday, they can still have some private space. But as you know, the flats in Hong Kong are really small. So part of the worker, they don't have their own room. Maybe they live in the living room or they share room with the elderly or with the kids. So if it's on their holiday, it's really difficult for them to rest. And sometimes the employers may ask them to do the work, even if it's their holiday, maybe ask them to cook or to go marketing. So it's actually quite difficult for them to take rest, and it's also difficult for them to say no to the employer. So that's why it's quite a challenge for them if they don't have their private space. And if I think for most of the workers, as they share, they hope to have the choice to choose whether they want to stay at home for rest or to go outside with their friends in the pandemic. And I think they also can understand the current condition. Just like Ina said, if the coronavirus get worse in Hong Kong, they prefer to stay at home for rest. But if it's more stable, slightly stable, they prefer to go out with their friends in social distancing. So I think it's up to their choice depending on the coronavirus condition. So we still receive a lot of different questions, but we can't answer all in the live right now. So we will answer that after the live in reply to the inbox. So thank you so much for everyone attending, joining us in the Facebook Live. And thank you, Vivis, Belinda, Ina, and also Cici for sharing their conditions. And we hope that their situation can be improved, or at least have more people are concerned about their situation in the pandemic. So we will answer the questions later through the inbox. And thank you so much. So this is the end of our Facebook Live. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.